Before you close your eyes tonight, I want you to remember something powerful. You were not born to be small. You were not made to shrink into silence. And your worth, it doesn't sleep, even when you do. So tonight, this is not just a bedtime reminder. This is a wake-up call for your soul. Because the world may try to define you by your pain, your past, or your body. But you're more than every scar they can't see. You're more than the love you didn't receive. And you're far more dangerous to settle than they ever imagined. Every woman listening to this right now, I need you to breathe deeply. And let every word I say tonight become your new standard. Not just for how the world should treat you, but for how you should treat yourself. Because, darling, the way you speak to yourself in the silence of night will shape how you rise in the chaos of morning. So let's begin. This is for you. You're not too much. They were simply never enough. This line isn't just a quote. It's a declaration. A truth that every woman needs to hear, breathe in, and believe with her entire soul. How many times have you silenced your laugh because it was too loud? How many times did you lower your standards because someone told you you're asking for too much? How often did you hide your brilliance just to make someone else comfortable in their insecurity? There's a girl out there who was told she's too emotional. She feels deeply, cries when she's moved, speaks when something doesn't sit right with her heart. They called it weakness. But what they don't understand is empathy is the backbone of leaders, creators. Take out the power of the glass. You have the power, their strength. Empathy is the backbone of leaders, and visionaries. She was never too emotional. They were emotionally unavailable. They couldn't handle the beauty of a heart unafraid to feel. Then there's the woman who was told she's too ambitious. She dreams big, walks into meetings with a fire in her eyes, challenges outdated rules, and demands what she knows she deserves. And what do they say? You're too much. But what they really mean is, you scare them. Your boldness highlights their smallness. Your vision exposes their limitations. You weren't too ambitious. They were simply too lazy to rise to your level. You didn't intimidate them. They felt inadequate in your presence and called it too much. What about the girl who loves too hard? The one who texts first, plans dates, shows up, gives 110% in every relationship, only to be told she's clingy, desperate, or intense. But let's be honest. She wasn't too loving. She was loving the wrong people who never had the capacity to receive real love. They were never built to handle a woman who shows up with loyalty, care, and intensity. They mistook devotion for desperation. The truth is, a man who's ready for a real woman would call that effort a blessing, not a burden. Imagine a woman in a room full of people talking passionately about things she believes in. She's loud, expressive, maybe even a little dramatic. And someone tells her, tone it down. Tone it down. You're too loud. But here's the raw truth. Her volume is not the problem. Their silence is. The world has taught women to whisper their thoughts and scream their beauty. But this woman is rewriting the rules. She doesn't want to be the prettiest in the room. She wants to be the loudest voice for change. You weren't too loud. They just weren't ready to hear truth that didn't fit their comfort zone. Then there's the woman who wants more. more than just a paycheck. The one who's expecting more than just a paycheck, more than a label of wife or girlfriend, more than the bare minimum. She wants partnership, passion, growth, communication, equality. And when she asks for these things, what does she hear? You expect too much. No, darling. She expects exactly what she gives. She's not asking for a castle. She's asking for consistency. And if that feels like pressure, then they were never built for love, only convenience. She wasn't asking for too much. They were offering far too little. Even in friendships, when you can ask for too much, they were offering far too little. Even in friendships, it happens. She outgrows gossip, late-night drama, and energy-sucking friendships. She starts reading books, going to therapy, setting boundaries, evolving. And her so-called friends say, "You've changed." As if growth is a betrayal. But the truth is, they stay the same. She didn't become too good for them. They refused to rise with her. And growth always offends their stagnant. Her elevation exposed their comfort in mediocrity. She didn't leave them behind. They stayed behind and called it loyalty. So next time someone tells you you're too much, remember, the problem is not your intensity, your love, your dreams, your energy, or your volume. The problem is their inability to handle anything that doesn't fit into the limited box they built for you. You weren't too much. You were a mirror reflecting everything they refused to confront within themselves. I will describe to you a journey of faith that you weren't too much. You were a mirror reflecting everything they refused, that you weren't too much. You were not satisfactory, that you were not satisfied enough in the world that you need. I call it a victim to the same. Self-worth is the only makeup that doesn't fade at night. You can wash off your foundation, your highlighter, your mascara, and the lipstick that made you feel bold, but what remains, what really matters, is how you see yourself when the world isn't watching. That moment when the mirror reflects more than just your face. When it shows your exhaustion, your dreams, your quiet battles. That's when the truth of your self-worth either shines or disappears. Think about it. How many times have you dressed up to impress someone, not because you wanted to, but because you thought maybe they'd value you more if you looked perfect? You wore the heels, curled your hair, posted the flawless selfie, yet still felt invisible to the one you wanted to notice you. And when the compliments didn't come or the text never arrived, didn't you feel like all the effort was wasted? That's what happens when validation comes from the outside. It fades, disappears, and leaves you questioning your beauty, your power, your enoughness. Now imagine a woman walking into a room, no makeup, hair in a bun, wearing yesterday's hoodie, but she carries herself like royalty. Why? Because her self-worth isn't tied to her eyeliner. It's anchored in who she knows she is. That's the woman who doesn't need approval to feel beautiful. Yeah? This is what born turns into. This is what born turns into. No one wants to feel like they have to prove something. That's the woman who doesn't need approval to feel beautiful. Her value isn't a performance, it's a presence. That woman doesn't apologize for taking up space. She owns it. You can fake confidence for a while. You can post the filtered life and paint on a smile. But when it's just you and your pillow at 2 a.m., when the mask comes off and the silence is loud, that's when self-worth speaks. That's when you either feel peace or panic. And the difference? It's not in how you look. It's in what you believe about yourself. Take relationships, for example. A woman who knows her worth doesn't chase love. She doesn't beg for attention. She doesn't break her own heart to keep someone else comfortable. Because she understands love isn't about convincing someone to stay. It's about knowing you're a prize. And if someone can't see that, it's their blindness, not your inadequacy. She doesn't sit by the phone waiting. She's out building a life that doesn't need rescuing. And in the workplace, self-worth is what makes you ask for that raise. It's what empowers you to say, I deserve more, even when they try to pay you less. It's the inner voice that tells you, you're not lucky to be here. You worked for this. You belong here. Without self-worth, you tolerate less. With it, you demand more. And not just more money, but more respect, more value, more space to lead, create, and rise. Even in friendships, self-worth is the filter that protects you. It's what makes you walk away when conversations become one-sided, when energy starts being drained, when people only show up when they need something. It's not cold-heartedness, it's self-respect. The woman who knows her worth doesn't fear being alone. She fears betraying herself. Because she understands the wrong crowd will make you feel wrong for growing. Look at your daily habits. A woman with self-worth eats to nourish, not to punish. She rests not because she's lazy, but because she's wise. She speaks up not to be loud, but because silence never saved her. And even when no one claps, she celebrates herself. Because the real party is internal. Validation is beautiful, but it's dangerous when it's your only source of worth. That's why self-worth isn't optional. You can't sell more. There are too many immediate preferences. There are too many dangerous preferences. You can't create a glitter. You can't self-worth. That's why self-worth isn't optional. It's your armor, your compass, your quiet rebellion against a world that profits from your insecurity. Rest is not laziness. It's rebellion in a world that wants you burnt out. Society has trained women to measure their worth by how busy they are, how much they give, and how exhausted they feel at the end of each day. She's so strong, they say about the woman who never stops, who never complains, who keeps pouring from a cup that's been empty for years. But strength is not in sacrifice alone. It's in the courage to say, I deserve to pause. From a young age, you were probably taught that rest comes after success, not before it. That unless you've earned it, you don't deserve it. But what they don't tell you is, a tired mind makes poor decisions. A drained soul forgets its purpose. A woman running on fumes will eventually collapse. And society will still ask her why she didn't try hard. That's why rest isn't weakness. It's resistance. It's you choosing to protect your peace in a world that thrives on chaos. Imagine a working woman juggling a full-time job and a household. She wakes up before the sun, prepares meals, answers emails, joins meetings, helps her children with homework, and still tries to be emotionally available for her partner. She barely remembers the last time she sat down just to breathe. She barely remembers the last time she sat down just to breathe. And when she dares to take a break, just an hour to herself, guilt creeps in like a shadow. But rest is not her enemy. It's her right. She isn't lazy for needing time. She's human. And humans don't function on hustle alone. Or think of a young student, constantly buried in books, chasing grades, battling anxiety that if she stops for even a second, she'll fall behind. But what if the breakthrough she's chasing is waiting on the other side of a good night's sleep? What if her creativity is buried under fatigue? What if her clarity needs quiet to be found? The most brilliant ideas don't come when you're sprinting, they come when you're still. Even machines need to cool down. Why not her? Even in motherhood, rest is radical. Society romanticizes mothers who give endlessly, who forget their own needs, who wear sleep deprivation like a badge of honor. But a mother who rests is a mother who heals. So, what have you come up with, Hannah? You have a method. Her currency is mother. Her heart is clear. How do you make machines lead, decide what? Her mother, who heals, hurts, Obija, hurts, feels heart, slows down, who breathes, who regains her strength so she can nurture not from depletion, but from overflow. Her rest is not selfish, it's sacred. She is teaching her children that self-care is survival, not indulgence. In relationships, rest means stepping back when you're emotionally drained. It means not always being the one who fixes, who carries, who softens. Sometimes rest is silence. Sometimes it's space. Sometimes it's not answering that call, not chasing that apology, not proving your worth to someone who refuses to see it. Because emotional rest is as necessary as physical rest. And no connection is worth the cost of your peace. Even spiritually, rest is renewal. A woman who prays, meditates, journals, or simply sits in solitude isn't wasting time. She's reconnecting with herself. She's listening to the whispers of her own soul, the ones drowned out by the noise of doing, performing, achieving. The world wants you exhausted, because an exhausted woman doesn't have the energy to rise, to question, to fight back. But a rested woman, she's dangerous, because she's awake, alert, alive. In your daily habits, rest could mean saying no. No to that extra task. No to that last-minute favor. No to the people-pleasing that leaves you emotionally bankrupt. It could mean sleeping in without apology, taking that vacation without guilt, binge watching your favorite show just because it brings you joy. That's not laziness. It's self-preservation. It's you telling the world, I refuse to earn rest. I embody it. Healing doesn't happen loudly. It happens in quiet nights like this. In those sacred hours when the world goes still and it's just you, your breath, and your truth. No applause, no validation, no one asking how you're doing. Just the weight of your emotions and the strength it takes to sit with them. That's where the real healing begins. Not in public victories, but in private battles you fight when no one's watching. Nobody wants to see your reaction to problems or your fight in truth. Nobody wants to see your reaction to problems or your fight in truth. Nobody wants to see in the moments laughing and crying. And the moments, people often assume healing looks like yoga retreats, glowing skin, or a woman smiling in the mirror saying affirmations. But healing is raw. It's messy. Sometimes it looks like a woman curled up in bed, replaying the same memory for the 100th time until it finally loses its power over her. Healing is crying until you can't breathe, then waking up the next day and making coffee like nothing happened. Healing is scary, but it's the little life block of love, like nothing happened. That's power, not performance, not perfection. Picture the woman who just walked away from a toxic relationship. From the outside, people might think she's okay. She's posting pictures, going to work, laughing with friends. But every night, her heart bleeds in silence. She deletes his number, rereads the old texts, stares at the ceiling, trying to understand how something that once felt like home became a battlefield. But she doesn't scream, she doesn't beg, she simply breathes through it. That quiet choice to not go back, that's where healing lives. Or think of the girl battling anxiety. She's not dramatic. She doesn't tell everyone what she's going through. Instead, she puts on her favorite hoodie, lights a candle, and listens to music that understands her better than people do. She writes in a journal because her heart is too heavy for conversation. That's healing. Not the absence of struggle, but the quiet courage to keep choosing herself every single day. Even in grief, healing doesn't explode, it whispers. It's the mother who lost a child and now lights a candle every night by the window, not because it brings the child back, but because it keeps their spirit close. She doesn't need words. Her silence is sacred. Her pain doesn't scream, but it shifts, slowly, into something softer. That's healing. Not a sudden breakthrough, but a gentle surrender. There's also healing in letting go of the version of yourself you once had to be to survive. The girl who was always strong, always smiling, always the problem solver. Letting her rest is healing. Admitting you're tired is healing. Choosing not to be everything for everyone anymore, that's the quiet rebellion that brings you back to life. You don't need to make announcements to grow. You just need to give yourself permission. And in friendships, healing is learning to stop expecting closure from people who hurt you. It's realizing that the apology might never come, the explanation might never arrive, and the validation might forever be missing. But you still get to heal. In the quiet, by setting boundaries, by unfollowing in peace, by forgiving without forgetting. That doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. Some nights, healing is turning your phone off and staring at the stars. It's lying on the floor, listening to the same sad song on repeat, because it helps you feel seen. It's rereading a favorite book, because the words comfort you in ways people never did. Healing happens in these still moments, in silence, in solitude, in those private hours where the world has nothing to say but your soul has everything to reveal. Healing isn't loud, it's sacred. It's survival disguised as softness. Stop sleeping next to doubt. Make room for vision. Doubt is that quiet voice lying beside you every night, whispering fears into your dreams, convincing you that you're not ready, not worthy, not capable. It wraps around your mind like a warm blanket made of fear, comfortable, familiar, but paralyzing. It tells you to wait, to delay, to dim your light just a little bit longer until you feel more prepared. But guess what? Doubt is not a companion. It's a thief. And every night you go to sleep with it, it robs you of another chance to wake up with clarity. Doubt doesn't shout. It whispers. It hides in little decisions. In the woman who's been working on a business idea for 3 years but never launched it because she keeps thinking, what if I fail? She has all the skills, all the talent, but doubt is curled up beside her, feeding her hesitation like poison disguised as logic. And every night she sleeps next to it, her dream sleeps too. until one day someone else launches the same idea, and she watches in silence, heartbroken, knowing she didn't lack brilliance. She just lacked belief. There's a girl who wants to switch careers, follow her passion, start over, but each night, doubt reminds her of the comfort in the familiar. It says, what if it doesn't work out? So she stays where she is, not because she's happy, but because she's afraid. That's the problem with doubt. It disguises itself as safety. But true vision, it requires risk. It demands space. And it cannot breathe in a bed already occupied by fear. Look at relationships too. A woman knows the relationship she's in is draining her. It's full of red flags she keeps ignoring, hoping love will fix it. But every night she sleeps beside someone who doubts her worth. And worse, she doubts it too. She wonders, maybe this is the best I'll ever get. And that's where doubt becomes deadly. It convinces you to settle in places you were meant to pass through. It's time to evict that mindset. To stop sharing your sacred space with thoughts that sabotage your future. Even in friendships, doubt creeps in. You want to start setting boundaries, saying no, protecting your peace. But doubt says, what if they leave? So you say yes when you want to scream no. You become a version of yourself that pleases people while killing your spirit. But your vision, your real self is suffocating because doubt cannot coexist with growth. You can't evolve in spaces that require you to stay small. There's a woman who looks in the mirror every night and sees potential. She wants to start writing, painting, speaking, traveling. But doubt stands behind her and says, who do you think you are? That voice? It's not truth. It's the echo of every insecurity passed down to you. Parents, teachers, ex-lovers, society. But it's not your voice. Your real voice, the one tied to your vision, is quiet but powerful. It says, you were made for more. Make room. You can't build a future when your pillow is soaked in hesitation. Dreams require faith, and faith doesn't sleep beside fear. Vision needs space to grow, and the first step is to clear the bed of every thought that makes you question your worth. Rearrange your mental bedroom. Remove the clutter of excuses. Throw out the sheets of self-doubt. And set yourself out. Redecorate your nights. With belief, with hope, with bold plans and wild dreams that terrify you into greatness. Because the truth is, your destiny isn't waiting on the world. It's waiting on you to stop sleeping beside the thing that keeps putting your vision to bed. Your future self is already proud of you. She's waiting. She's the version of you who has survived what you're currently struggling with. She's the one walking in rooms you haven't even entered yet, wearing confidence like a crown, not because life became easier, but because you chose not to give up. And right now she's looking back at you, not with judgment, not with pressure, but with the deepest kind of love. She's silently cheering, whispering, keep going. I'm already living the life you're afraid to chase. Think about it. There's a girl staring at herself in the bathroom mirror, exhausted from holding back tears all day. Work stress, family expectations, social media comparison. It's all too much. And as she wipes her face, she wonders, will this ever get better? But somewhere down the line, that same girl is waking up to peace, purpose, and power. That version of her remembers the nights she almost quit. The days she felt like a failure. The hours she stayed silent when her heart was breaking. And yet she rose. That future self didn't come from ease. She was built in storms. There's a woman who's learning how to choose herself after years of putting everyone else first. She's setting boundaries, finally saying no, letting go of guilt. But it's hard. The world calls her selfish. Her past tells her she's being cold. But her future self, she's proud. Because every time she says no to what drains her, she's saying yes to the woman she's becoming. The woman who doesn't just survive, she leads. She glows. She creates. That future version didn't appear by accident. She was crafted by every small, uncomfortable decision to heal. A student failing a test feels like the end of the world. A breakup feels like the collapse of forever. A rejection email feels like proof that you'll never be enough. But the truth is, your future self already knows those moments were redirections, not failures. She knows the test didn't define your intelligence. It shaped your resilience. The breakup wasn't the loss of love. It was the beginning of self-love. That rejection didn't end your path. It opened a better one you couldn't yet see. She's living the reward of your current pain. There's a girl struggling with body image. She stares at her reflection and hears every cruel word society ever threw at her. She skips meals, compares herself, hides her curves, and forgets that she is more than a number on a scale. But her future self? She's walking into a room with her head held high, wearing that dress she once thought she wasn't allowed to wear, laughing without covering her mouth, taking pictures without filters, dancing like the world is her stage. That confidence, it wasn't gifted. It was earned. Every time she chose compassion over criticism. Even in silence, when you feel unseen and unheard, when no one checks in and loneliness echoes loud, your future self is listening. She's sitting in a room filled with love, meaningful connections, and deep joy. And she remembers this version of you. The one who kept praying when answers didn't come. The one who kept showing up when everything screamed, "Stay in bed." She knows that the seeds you're planting now will one day bloom into everything you ever dreamed of. She's already living in your answered prayers. She's walking through doors that once felt locked. She's celebrating milestones that you're too afraid to even speak out loud. And she's not disappointed in how long you're taking. She's not mad about your mistakes. She's just waiting, patiently, proudly, because she knows you're coming. You're becoming. Every painful step, every scar, every lonely night, it's all part of her, and she wouldn't exist without you. So before you close your eyes tonight, let me remind you, this is not the end of your story, it's the rise of your becoming. You may be lying in the dark, but your future is not dim, it's just under construction. Your silence is not emptiness, it's the echo of transformation. And your tears, they aren't weakness. They're proof that your soul is still fighting for something greater. You've survived 100% of your worst days. Do you hear me? You are undefeated. Not because life has been kind, but because you refused to stay broken. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be real, raw, powerful, resilient, and deeply human. Stop waiting for permission to love yourself. Stop shrinking so others feel tall. Stop holding your breath in rooms that were never built to hold the force of your energy. You are not just enough. You are more than enough. And if someone can't see that, it's not your job to become smaller. It's their job to open their damn eyes. There is a fire in you that no heartbreak, no failure, no disappointment could ever put out. That fire is not for decoration. It's for destruction. To burn down every lie you've been told about your worth, to incinerate every doubt, every fear, every voice that tried to convince you that you're too emotional, too intense, too loud or too much. You are not too much. You are everything. Remember, rest is not laziness. Healing is not weakness. Silence is not defeat. Every queen has a season where she sits in the dark and sharpens her crown. And when she rises, she doesn't come back the same. She comes back unshakable. The world doesn't recognize her anymore. Because now, she walks like she knows who she is. And that's exactly what you're doing. Piece by piece, breath by breath, you are not behind. You are not late. You are not broken. You are becoming. There will be days when you'll want to quit. Nights when you'll doubt if it's all worth it. People who will leave. People who will lie. Doors that will slam shut right in your face. But listen to me. What's meant for you will never require you to betray yourself to keep it. And what breaks you today is building the version of you who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, and doesn't settle. You're not lost, you're being redirected. You're not stuck, you're being still so you can rise with clarity. You're not falling apart, you're falling into place. The woman you are becoming is already watching. She sees how hard you're trying, how long you've endured, how many silent nights you've survived. And she's proud. She's whispering to you right now, keep going. I'm waiting. And if the world doesn't clap for you, clap for yourself. If no one validates your worth, validate it with the way you show up, even when no one notices. You don't need an audience to be legendary. You don't need approval to walk like royalty. As Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was. So say it now. Say it before you see it. Say it while you're scared, while you're doubting, while you're healing. Let the world sleep on you while you wake up to yourself. And when you finally walk into your destiny, don't walk, arrive. Head high, heart whole, voice steady, eyes on fire. Because you didn't just survive the storm, you became it. And queens don't beg for thrones, they build empires. One sleepless night at a time. Sleep well, warrior. Tomorrow is yours.